Recorded. We do have some people that unfortunately could not attend, so this is being recorded. When we go to breakout sessions later, they will not be recorded, so don't be aware there, but all the pressure's on us with that recording to share out with folks. So again, thanks and welcome for everybody for joining us today. If you don't know me, my name is Ryan Davis. I have the honor and the pleasure of being the Executive Director of Seattle Jobs Initiative, and it is truly an honor to work with all of you on this call today as partners, the amazing staff and board at Seattle Jobs Initiative. And seeing the impact of the work that we have is truly a pleasure and brings a rewarding job for me. It's been an absolutely thrilling last 18 months to be able to lead this organization. So today, a quick agenda. We're going to have the welcome and introduction by one of our amazing board members, Jaquanda Nelson. I am then going to walk through our strategic plan, hopefully while you all are enjoying lunch. Mine is waiting in the next room. And then if you all are able to stay with us, and I recognize that some folks may have to jump off right at 12:30 to our next Zoom meeting, would like to invite you to come to a breakout session with some of our amazing SJI staff to share some of your thoughts and ideas as we go forward. But before I do turn it over to Jaquanda, we did want to take a moment, particularly since Monday was Indigenous Peoples Day, and acknowledge that for those of us here in Seattle and the Puget Sound, that we are working on the unceded traditional land of the Coast Salish peoples. We honor with gratitude the land itself and the past and present people of the Duwamish tribe. This acknowledgement acts only as a first step in honoring the land we are on and their people, and must be furthered by meaningful actions with Indigenous communities. And with that, I would like to pass the baton over to Jaquanda Nelson. Jaquanda, her day job is the Senior Director of Community and Culture at Concentrix. And Jaquanda is unique in the sense that she both serves on the board of Seattle Jobs Initiative and also on the board of the Workforce Development Council of Seattle King County. So Jaquanda has no time for anything fun, it seems. Jaquanda, I will pass it over to you to do an introduction and to welcome.
Yes, thank you, Ryan. Thank you, James, for getting us started. Hi, everyone. As Ryan said, I'm Jaquanda Nelson. I'm extremely honored to be here in this space with all of you to talk about, the unveiling of our strategic plan. I will say from a board member perspective, it was absolutely an interesting process. We found ourselves saying many times during the process, too bad we're not in a room with the Post-its and the flip boards and the markers and all of that to really organize our thoughts. So I just also want to give kudos to the other board member and staff folks who really helped participate in this process virtually, which we all endured. And I think we made it. And so it's been a interesting and fun 9 months. I feel really proud about the plan because I think it represents and reflects the voices and perspective of the board members. We were also very intentional to make sure staff had a very huge voice in this, also community and some of our key partners. Many of us have probably at some point or another been a part of something where you do all this planning in a room and you talk about it and then you put it out and no one resonates with it, no one connects with it because you didn't do the due diligence of making sure those voices were a part of that planning. And I feel really proud to say that we have done that. So with that, thank you to everyone who collaborated with us, for those who provided input to us, including the Workforce Development Council and City of Seattle Office of Economic Development and many other voices who were a part of that. Another key part of this, which we had a lot of in-depth conversation about when we thought about, what is our vision? What is our mission? How are we going to get there? How do we ground ourselves in who we say we are as an organization and our values? And so you'll see the focus on race equity, which continue to come up and be very specific in how we're going to accomplish our plan. And then also making sure as we're doing that, especially with all of us in the space, right, of trying to think about our economy and how we recover and making sure that we're very intentional about that in our planning in terms of inclusive recovery for our economy. So With that, we thank you for creating this time to come see the work that we've done, to provide input and continue to be a partner with us. I also feel a very huge responsibility as a board member for this organization to count on all of you to hold us accountable to that, to make sure that our decisions and our actions reflect what we have in the plan, and to be bold and say, as a partner, or as a staff member, or a fellow board member, to say this does not align with who we say we are and what we're going to do in terms of our planning. So we welcome that. Again, thank you for taking the time, and I hope you are as excited about the plan as we are. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jaquanda. And there are two other folks in the room that helped us on this journey before we jump in. I do want to recognize Dr. Van Davis and Dr. Karen Yoshino, who are our amazing consultants. If you can give us a quick wave in your window. If your organization is considering embarking on a strategic planning journey, hit one of these two up. They have been absolutely amazing partners as we've been able to build this. So as we get into the details and the unveiling of what our plan is going forward, you're going to hear some very common language from some other partners as well, notably the Workforce Development Council of King County, the King County itself, City of Seattle. A lot of organizations, as we're working in the workforce space, are singing from the same sheet of music, and that is a great thing to be able to hear as we are working towards building an inclusive economic recovery in the wake of COVID-19. So every good plan starts with a vision. And our vision is that every worker has a career that allows them, their family, and community to thrive. And while oftentimes in workforce development, we're really focused on that individual succeeding in a college program or getting that job, recognizing that a job is more than just a job for that person, but it has that impact at the family level, and that our diverse communities that make up the vibrant fabric that is the Puget Sound are also benefiting from the efforts that we put into workforce development. But to get to that vision, what are we going to do at SJI? What is our part in this very complex puzzle? And so this mission statement took us a long time. As Jaquanda alluded, we hassled over this for I would say a couple months, and again, really wishing we had been in person for this, but I think we're really proud of where we ended up. And so some of it's from carryover from before. So Seattle Jobs Initiative supports people from underinvested communities to build careers. And careers there is key. It's not just about jobs, but it's about the long-term career and quality jobs that we want to connect people to. And then by creating equitable workforce systems, so centering equity and developing impactful partnerships with all of you in the room, we will address structural racism. And addressing structural racism has been an implicit part of Seattle Jobs Initiative mission and vision since its founding in the 1990s, but we decided to make that explicit in making it centered in all of what we do. But to get to our mission, our values are really important. And so we identified some really 6 core values. I want to highlight a couple of those. So equity is obviously at the center of what we do. That's where we all start. Is this program equitable? Is what we're about to embark on going to advance our equity agenda? My favorite that came out of this, though, is number 4 with grit. A lot of times, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna highlight some of our programs that are really successful, but we learn a lot of times more from programs that are not successful. But it's important to fall forward, to pick ourselves up, to dust ourselves off, and continue the work, particularly the challenges that all of us have faced over the last 18 months. And then finally, collaboration. So today at a lunch in the middle of the week, we've got 85 folks joining us from all different partnerships, from employer partners that are hiring participants coming through our programs, public agencies that are hiring us to be able to support their work and build better systems, our friends from labor that help to organize workers and ensure that quality jobs and equitable wages are available, and community-based organizations that are deep in communities, making sure that those voices are heard. It takes all of us to be able to drive an inclusive and equitable economic recovery. And I did want to call out again those partnerships. If I was going to highlight all the partners on this call, we would have needed like 6 slides to fit everybody in. But we are just so thankful for all the partnerships that are here. There's not a single thing that we do at Seattle Jobs Initiatives without working for partners, whether it's pursuing a grant, building an on-ramp program, addressing a problem, hosting a convening. It takes all of you. And I'm so thankful that all of you have been able to spend some of your time today. And just a moment to reflect on what we've all had over the last 18 months, some highlights of what we've been able to do with you all. As the crisis unfolded, we got a call from the director of Seattle's Office of Economic Development and saying our small businesses need help. And we were able to reach into our depth and experience to provide small businesses technical assistance with navigating complex workforce systems and the grant systems that were coming out. I joke that we have turned our conference room where we used to have all staff meetings into a small Best Buy. We've distributed over 800 digital devices to address digital equity among job seekers that lost their jobs due to COVID-19. We provided over $250,000 in direct assistance, oftentimes filling in those gaps before federal or state relief plans could come in to be able to provide housing and food assistance. And we've connected with nearly 1,400 participants from underinvested communities, and over 70% of those identify as BIPOC. And despite all the shutdowns, despite the fact that we had to move all of our training virtually, we've been able to get over 200 people started in careers, over half of those helping to replenish our healthcare workforce, which, as we all know, has been decimated by COVID-19. It has truly been a Herculean effort by our board, by our staff, and all the partners here. And we know that this is just a part of the greater story of the amazing work that has happened in 18 months by all of you on the call today. But now we're going forward. How do we drive that into recovery? And we've set 4 goals going forward to be able to realize our mission and continue to keep up this great work. So goal number 1. We are committed to empowering underinvested communities and people to participate and benefit from an inclusive economic recovery. And what does this mean? We know that we've had amazing economic growth. And while COVID-19 definitely was a detriment to many of the sectors, particularly our hospitality sector here in the Puget Sound, we know that economic growth has been unequitable. Some people have been on the benefiting end, and many communities have been disrupted by the pace of growth. If you're not from Seattle, just the amount of growth in terms of people and buildings has truly been tremendous over the past decade, but we recognize that that's been inequitable. So what is our role in being able to do that? Well, I think it all starts out with recognizing that Seattle Jobs Initiative, we need to partner with those organizations that are trusted in communities. So we're about identifying those, particularly in BIPOC communities, and being able to ask, what is it that you need? How can we help to be able to help you be able to serve your communities better? It is ultimately our end that through our partnerships, while we want them to last forever, that those are going to change over time. And that in the end, if we can build organizations to have the workforce capacity that they need, that is a success, and we can move on to the next organization that may need our help. We also want to leverage our industry partnerships. Many of our industry partners are on this call today, and we're truly thankful for that, and how we can be able to connect employers to job seekers. Right now in our country, there's over 10 million jobs available and just over 8 million job seekers actively looking. So even if we filled every job with a job seeker, there will still be 2 million jobs available. There is truly an opportunity to be able to tap into previously unknown pools of talent, particularly in our underinvested communities, and get individuals into careers to be able to help our industry partners grow. And then in skills training, our role is an on-ramp. We have amazing apprenticeship programs here in Washington State, in healthcare apprenticeship, the construction trades, and in manufacturing. But not everybody's ready to start an apprenticeship right now. So how are we able to prepare people for that? Similarly, we have 34 incredible community and technical colleges, literally award-winning technical colleges. North Seattle just received several awards this past week at the National Council for Workforce Education Conference. We want to be able to prepare people to succeed in those post-secondary pathways and addressing those digital equity gaps that continue to plague our inequities. An example of how we've been able to do that and how we're continuing to do that is our Digital Bridge program that we developed in partnership with the City of Seattle Office of Economic Development, and have brought in private partners such as support from Comcast to be able to make this possible. So pre-COVID, there were lots of programs at colleges where you could rent a laptop, or at a library where you could use a shared resource. But we needed, COVID really called out that a laptop and access to high-speed internet are critical tools for 21st century job seekers and career seekers. And so we developed a program to be able to give individuals from underinvested communities their own laptop and 1 year of high-speed internet. We have even been able to address our houseless community in Seattle by providing mobile hotspots for individuals that do not have stable housing. And we've been able to couple that with digital literacy training going out to community-based organizations such as Uplift Northwest and the Congolese Integration Network to deliver training so that individuals are able to leverage those tools to find jobs, to start careers, and to enroll in our amazing college and apprenticeship programs. We look forward to continuing programs like this and continuing to address other needs to be able to connect individuals into high wage and quality job careers. But working with individuals is just one part of the puzzle and supporting organizations, but our systems have to evolve as well. And we have to recognize that over the past several years, even pre-COVID, we have an interconnected regional economy that transcends municipal boundaries. It's no longer about a Seattle economy or a King County economy. It's a Puget Sound economy. And as such, our focus is really changing to be able to address what that regional labor market looks like. For those of you that live here, none of these things are going to be a surprise. Our housing market, we do not have enough housing for folks, and the prices are crazy and are driving people out of the city and urban centers. But at the same time, we're making a multi-billion-dollar investment in light rail that is bringing us closer together. Also, we see the rise of remote work opportunities. So individuals don't necessarily then have to live right next to that office building or within that commuting distance. And we've seen an expansion in our regional economy, this huge growth. It's not just the tech sector, but our traditional sectors. We still make the best airplanes in the world right here in the Puget Sound. We have a huge and expansive hospitality and tourism sector. We continue to grow in technology. We're a life sciences center for research and healthcare. So we truly are an amazing, diversified regional economy, and we need a diverse and competent and skilled workforce to be able to continue to drive that economic prosperity. And that takes collaboration. Workforce is super complicated. There are so many players. There are municipal and city governments, county governments, state agencies, community colleges, four-year universities, our friends in labor and apprenticeships, workforce development councils. And honestly, we haven't always been the best at being able to work together. It sometimes is hard. It's really hard to work across that, but we're committed to collaborating and identifying where are those gaps in the system, where are those gaps that individuals are not able to take advantage of some of these opportunities, and how can we leverage those resources to come together. One of the ways that we've been able to do that is through the healthcare industry leadership table. So we are pleased to be co-conveners of HILT, along with our friends at the Workforce Development Council of Seattle and King County. All of the employer partners at that table represent over 125,000 quality jobs and careers in this sector. It's critical to our economy. It's critical to our future growth. And at that table, while employers are important, we also have colleges, we have our apprenticeship programs, we have community-based organizations and our public sector partners. And over the last few months during COVID, we've intentionally said, while this started as the Seattle King County Healthcare Industry Leadership Table, as you will see in the logo, we've added Snohomish and Pierce counties as well, because our healthcare providers are serving patients and have footprints all across that region. And HILT is focused as coming together to address the workforce challenges in the healthcare sector that have been exacerbated by COVID-19. HILT is investing in the talent pipeline, high school and even middle school students, particularly in school districts that are primarily students of color, those receiving free and reduced lunch, and high populations of English language learners. Thanks to a $25 million investment from the Ballmer Foundation, we're working together to collaborate with partners to be able to revitalize and support our behavioral health workforce, because COVID has brought to the forefront the need for mental health services, and a robust workforce to deliver that is more important than ever. HILT is committed to anti-racism, not just in the delivery of healthcare services and the social determinants of health, but identifying how having anti-racist policies and workforce development can help advance those healthcare outcomes. And last but not least, we know that our nursing workforce has been absolutely decimated by COVID-19. They are truly the heroes on the front lines that have been fighting against this pandemic. And we must address the attrition that has happened in that workforce and recognize that we need to be able to revitalize that workforce to continue to be able to support a robust healthcare system moving forward. So we have lots of partners on the call today from HILT, but this is just an example of how when we partner together and come together, we can collaborate on addressing workforce issues for the betterment of all. Our third goal is to be able to have a national impact. Many people, when they know about SJI, either know about our local work or they know about our national work, but really about how those things are intersecting together. And sorry for our folks from other states, and it's great to see literally folks from coast to coast on this call, but we're a leader in workforce here in Washington. People look to what we are doing here at the state and city level and say, oh, wow, if Washington's doing it, that must be a practice that we really want to be able to emulate. And there's a couple ways that we've been able to do that. We are long recognized as our experts in SNAP employment and training, which is a program to help individuals receiving food assistance be able to break down barriers to starting a career and earning a post-secondary credential. So not only do we leverage those funds to magnify the investments from our city and county partners and state investors as well, but we're also able to help other states be able to support that. I'm pleased to announce that we have just won the contract from USDA to continue to operate the Staff to Skills Learning Center for the next 2 years. So our work will continue in that space, as well as individual states and communities that we're working with. Thanks to an investment from the ECMC Foundation, we've been able to launch a student-centered design center of expertise, where we are working with colleges, both community and technical colleges across the country, to center student voice as they're designing their programs and processes. And our policy and research team continues to tackle problems. Right now, we're working with the state legislature, the Joint Transportation Committee, and the Washington State Ferries to address the workforce crisis that is affecting a key part of our infrastructure here in the Puget Sound. And an example of how those things can come together. So we have been pleased to partner with Portland Community College, and our student-centered design team work with Portland Community College to be able to talk to students about how they can learn about accessing SNAP benefits, and as a result, then be able to leverage those SNAP employment and training opportunities to break down barriers to post-secondary credential attainment. And so we were able to test some of those ways, and they were so successful that Portland Community College reached out to the entire state of Oregon and other community college partners to say, hey, this is something that we need to be able to replicate statewide. And we are pleased to work with the state of Oregon to continue to provide opportunity for those receiving food assistance so that they can start quality careers. But finally, while all these are external things, we want to see that impact in our communities and nationwide, we recognize that we need to have a strong set of internal processes and capacities as well. Some things that we will be doing to strengthen our capacity, we will be in the next 12 to 18 months embarking on a race equity theory of change process. We are committed to providing professional development and opportunities for our staff within. All of the work that I've talked about and been able to brag about today is thanks to our 34 amazing staff members that come to work every day committed to making our region a better, more equitable, and more verdant place. And so we need to continue to pay that back by investing in their careers and opportunities, and are committed to do that. But the resources to do that, I do want to thank some of our funders, many of which are in the room today. So some of these partners listed here are direct grantors to us, and we are deeply appreciative for the resources and are committed to being good stewards of those resources and leveraging those to commit to greater good. Also, there are partners here where we partner on grant opportunities because these days it truly takes a village to be able to get those resources into our region to be able to address these challenges. So thank you to all of our funders that are in the room today. We could not do this work without you, and we are committed to ensuring that every dollar invested in SJI is magnified and amplified as it makes an impact in our community. So with that, I have, hopefully you are as excited as we are about those goals. There's a lot more into our plan, but I did not want to get into all of that, particularly since we've only got a short time with each of you today. But we are now going to break out into breakout rooms. So based on everybody signed up, you have been randomly, well, maybe not randomly, intentionally assigned to one of 3 rooms to be able, so we can hear from you. What are some things that maybe I've shared with you today that have sparked an idea or a brainstorm, or hey, if there's a grant out there that we can go after together, please share that as well. So breakout in Goal 1, our local group, is going to be Kevin Osborne, our Director of Operations, and Frankie Rowe, a Project Manager 2 and an emerging amazing talent here at Seattle Jobs Initiative. Our systems room is going to be read by Kat O'Leary, our new Director of Strategy and Impact, who is really the keeper of our plan, and Paco Mesh, our new Integration Coordinator, who helps to organize all the work source centers here in King County. And for our national partners, you'll get a chance to meet with David Kaz, our Director of Consulting, and Bree Nguyen, who leads our efforts in the Student Center design work. But before we go, definitely want to promote us on social. So if there's something that resonates with you today, please tag us in a tweet at SGI Opening Doors. Give us a follow. If you're on Facebook, please follow us on SGI Opening Doors on Facebook, or tag us on LinkedIn, or be able to join us as well. And you can see my email there as well. Would love to hear your thoughts, or later today, if something comes up that you have a brilliant idea, would love to hear that and connect with all of you on this call.